Alright guys, I don't want you to make the muscle up harder than it needs to be. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, this is the perfect grip for the muscle up for most of us. So shoulder width apart and a little bit more. Some people use a little bit narrower grip, and you will see some people use a really wide grip. But those are the extremes, I would say. This is the most common grip, the most used grip. So shoulder width apart and a little bit more. And you can also see that I'm hanging from my fingers, so to speak, like if you're just grabbing the bar and doing pull-ups. You can also use a slight overhand grip for the muscle up, which will make your knuckles face the sky a little bit more. And this grip will make the transition a little bit easier. So then you might wonder why don't I use the slight overhand grip if it makes the transition easier? Well, I feel more explosive hanging from my fingers, so that compensates a little bit. And I never really got used to the other grip, so I'm just using this grip. But you can play around with the two, just hanging from the fingers like I'm doing here, or a slight overhand grip. Right, let's move on. So as I said, I don't want you to make the muscle up any harder than it needs to be. So I will show you really simple technique cues. And you can just use these technique cues and you don't have to think about anything else. So you just grab the bar shoulder width apart, and here I'm using gloves because I don't want my hands to stick on the bar. I want my hands to be able to rotate freely, because in the beginning, if you can't rotate your hands, if you're using chalk or if the bar is sticky, it's very easy to get stuck in the transition if you can't rotate your hands. So that's another tip. Try to do muscle ups on a bar that you can rotate your hands on. All right. So the simple muscle up cues. Small swing forward like this. You don't want the swing to be any bigger than this, because then you will get further away from the bar in the backswing. And we don't want that. We want this middle path, so to speak. We don't want to be too close to the bar and not too far away. And pull-up timing is also crucial. You don't want to pull up too early. You want to pull up as you start to swing back or a little bit later in the swing. That can be a personal preference. So as you can see here, as I am about to swing back, I start pulling up, and I'm pulling up focusing on closing my armpits, because that technique helps me to get a good bar path. You can also focus on pulling with your biceps. That will also create a good bar path. Another cue that some people like is driving your elbows down. Okay, so you can pull focusing on closing your armpits, you can focus on pulling the elbows down, or you can focus on pulling with your biceps. All of these cues will make you stay kind of close to the bar and have good elbow flexion, as you can see I'm having here. So you don't want to be so far away from the bar and almost have like straight arms, and you don't want to be too close either, because then you will get stuck under the bar. So somewhere around here, as you can see in the video. So I'm pulling up, and then I'm throwing my chest forcefully over the bar. And this is a really important cue, okay? You really want to throw your chest over the bar as forcefully as you can, because that will take care of the transition. Then you can reset up here after you pushed up into the dip, which is the easy part. And then I like to touch the bar on my chest on the way down to get a good bar path down again. And as you can see, my swing is almost identical to the first rep, which is what we want. So we want to control the negative movement of the muscle up. We just don't want to drop down. You want to control it. And then as you start to swing back, you're pulling with your armpits, biceps, or driving your elbows down and forcefully throwing your chest over the bar and pushing up into the dip. All right, let's watch this in regular speed. Small swing forward and throwing your chest over the bar. And that will make you do smooth muscle ups. So don't complicate it any more than this. Just use this technique over and over and over again. And of course you will be using bands, and I will show you a banded muscle up workout a little bit later in this video. So don't complicate it. and throw your chest over the bar. All right, so this is the first aspect, drilling the technique over and over and over again. And the next part of the muscle up is weighted pull-ups, or as I'm doing these days, using the lat pull-down machine. It doesn't really matter. And you also want to write down all your results from each workout and try to progress every other week. So I went from 100 and now I'm at 115. And the important thing when doing weighted pull-ups is to use the same technique as you're doing your muscle ups. So this means shoulder width grip a little bit more, and then pulling with your armpits, biceps, or driving your elbows down. And you want to be doing this as explosively as you can. This might not look explosive, but I'm trying to explode down as much as I can. And you want to use a weight that's heavy enough for you to be able to do around 3 to 5 reps to really build that strength. And then we're moving on to my client Steve. And if you watched my previous video, he has been making some really good progress. And he continues to. And I just want to show you where he started. He started with the green and the purple band. And it looked like this. And then after a few tips and technique corrections, he started using the green band only. And it looked like this. So really good progress. And in this case, we're doing singles. So he's doing one muscle up, coming down, resetting, then another one. So 5 reps for 2 sets, 2 days per week. And then the next session, the third session, we went from the green band to the purple band. Same thing here. Very good technique. Coming down, resetting. And you can see he's forcefully throwing the chest over the bar and has a very good timing on his pull. So when he starts to come back, he pulls and throws his chest over the bar. And if you're feeling stuck in your muscle up journey and also want my muscle up coaching, you can just contact me. My email is in the description below. Just write a small paragraph where you are in your muscle up journey, where you are stuck, and I will help you get your first bodyweight muscle up. So yeah, amazing results, Steve. And we continue to work towards his first bodyweight muscle up. And I also want to thank you so much for buying me a coffee and all the coffees that you bought me throughout this year. Thank you so much. If you like this channel and want to support me in a small way, you can always buy me a coffee. My buy me a coffee link is in the description below. And thank you so much for the coffees. This coffee fueled my workout yesterday. So right now I'm about, I think, let's see. Yeah, somewhere between 92 and 93 kilos. That's what I have to work with these days. So before we get into the muscle up workout that you can use in your own sessions, I like to emphasize the importance of a warm-up. So I usually start my muscle up workouts with shoulder rotations back and forth, and then elbow rotations, warming up the shoulders a little bit. Then one of my favorites, shoulder rotations with bands, or with a band, the red one usually, going back and forth. And then also one of my favorites, wall angels, really loosens up stiff shoulders. All right, then let's get into the workout. You can of course modify this to your strength level. So after the general warm-up, I always warm up my muscle ups as well with a band or a band combination that is kind of easy for you. So I start my warm-up with 2 reps with the purple band with the same technique, pulling with my armpits, throwing my chest forward. And just pull as hard as you can. You want to wake your body up, wake your explosiveness up. And also embody the technique a little bit before the actual sets. Then I move on to the black band and do the same exact thing again. And maybe you started with the green and the purple band, for example. Maybe then you move on to the green band. Same thing here. Prepping the technique. Then I'm just doing 1 rep with the red band. Also part of the warm-up. And then the actual workout starts here. So I'll start the workout with 2 bodyweight reps. Pulling with my armpits as I'm about to swing back. and then throw my chest forcefully over the bar. So remember, keep it simple, keep the technique simple. Throw your chest forward. And then I rested for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Here I'm using the red band for 3 reps. And this is a really good way to almost do like drop sets for your muscle ups. It's one way to get stronger. And after the 3 reps, this was the first set. So for the second set, I do the exact same thing, starting with 2 reps, bodyweight muscle ups. And remember, throw your chest forcefully over the bar. Resting for a few seconds, 30 seconds or something like that, and do 3 reps with the red band, or whatever band you're working with. Controlling the descent and throwing the chest forward. And as you saw here, you can also do the half muscle up, which is just throwing your chest over the bar and resting your chest on the bar without pushing up. And you can do that if you just want to do like a pull session and rest your push movements for tomorrow, for example, or anything like that. So you can use the half muscle up or the full muscle up. And then I also usually implement the row. And this is to create muscle balance between horizontal and vertical pulling movements. And here I'm doing higher reps, so I would recommend implementing that as well. And this is another great accessory exercise for the muscle up. We want big and strong biceps for the muscle up. It will help you a lot. And the weighted pull-ups, of course. And if you're feeling stuck in your muscle up journey, you can just email me for muscle up coaching, and I will be happy to help you unlock your first bodyweight muscle up.